Uh-oh.
Oh, I can.
I can tell you in a second. I could count.
Thank you. Didn't recognize you with the mustache.
Right, we need a form from one.
Yeah, we can go, yeah, for the joint stuff.
But we have to, one or the other has.
We have a joint meeting. We have a request.
Yeah.
FYI, you have 10 for BCI.
So we need 6 either
We
way.
need six either way.
Yeah, okay.
Either way.
Wait, Barbara's here. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
Who made these rules?
Not me.
All right.
You may remember that I had a long submission suggesting otherwise. I did not.
I thought if you had gotten, the chair had approved, you could.
Then you could vote if there's.
Are we live now?
And,
Only if you have a disability. That you're ill.
Look at what she's got, the disability.
Don't tell me, I'll tell you.
Well, I'm gonna start. Everybody's okay.
Yeah, I started the YouTube. You can start whenever you want. You're good.
Thank you.
You
So
didn't mean that about Australia.
this is the August 12th. What are we calling it? A dual meeting?
No, join.
Joint business consumer issues and transportation committee. My name is Joshua Cohen. I am one of the co-chairs of the BCI committee. And introduce yourselves.
I'm Mark Diller, one of the co-chairs of the transportation committee, joined with.
Andrew Albert, one of the chairs of the transportation committee, joined with BCI tonight.
Great. All right, we have 2 BCI applications for SLA. They should go very quickly. Do we have an applicant here from 155 West 62nd Street?
I see a couple people here. I promoted one, and let me try promoting the rest. It's not clear where they're from.
Hi, I'm actually the applicant from 155 West 62nd Street. We are Legends Hospitality, and this is for the Big Apple Circus.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Wait, what's your name?
My name is Karen Monteros. I'm an in-house counsel there. I should have 2 managers on with me, but I don't see them. I just gave them a shout out.
If their names are Robert and Thomas, I tried promoting them. I can send it to them again if so.
I'm looking for Eric and Chris.
No, neither.
Okay.
Well, should we give him a minute here or should we proceed?
I could, up to you. I'd like, whatever you want is fine.
Were they joining on Zoom or in person?
They should have been joining on Zoom.
Okay, because I just saw people sign in through the doorway that didn't look like our board members, but no, just a Robert Tannenhauser and a Thomas McCallan.
No, okay.
All right, so if you're okay getting started without them, I'd like to proceed.
Why don't we proceed?
Okay, great. So can you tell us about Big Apple Circus? I think everybody's familiar with it, but if you could just give us a little overview and we'll go from there.
Big Apple Circus is actually, as you know, an icon, I think, in New York. Legends also does the Boathouse, by the way, at this time too. So we're very fortunate to have a lot of icons that we work with. We're very experienced. We have been doing stuff in New York since 2009 when we started with the New York Yankees. We're going to keep things this year very consistent with the operations that you're used to at the Big Apple Circus. There's only one bar there. We actually shut down, I think the last show ends at 10. We put down 11 for my operating hours to give us time to clean up. We have some special events there, but it's pretty limited. I think it's going to be 6 throughout the season, which runs from October 1st to about the end of March.
Great. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask about this applicant?
It's the same as it's always.
Yeah. Are you guys here to speak on behalf of it?
Yeah, they are.
Restaurant. Right. Great. Okay. I don't see any really reason not to call a vote here, so call a question.
Let's go.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor? BCI first.
Oh, BCI. First, the
BCI. Also joint, so everybody.
Yep.
Is that the, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, opposed?
Everybody's voting whether you're transportation. Right, is that right?
Well, but if you noticed, I'm sorry, maybe you didn't, everybody, so 9.
I'm voting for.
Okay, 900.
Any non-committee members here? No. Seema
Seema,
and Beverly? You're voting yes, great. No, you're voting no? No, I know.
you're on.
I don't
mute.
think I'm eligible to vote. Sorry.
Yeah, I think
That's
I'm the
okay.
same.
Okay, so then,
Okay, so 9000.
great. Passes 9-0-0-0. Thank you.
You,
Okay. 286 Columbus Avenue. Is that these guys?
I have a couple more people on Zoom.
Manny, you're 280, what's your?
Manny, then no, that's Bistro. Manny Bistro.
No.
That's a different thing.
They're for outdoor
They're-
dining.
Right, all right.
Yeah, this is not, that's
That's
like,
okay. Max, are they with,
What's her name?
I'll try promoting them. They didn't say where they're from, but I'll try promoting them again. Robert and Thomas, I just sent you promotion prompts if you're here for this application.
Thomas McCowan? So that could be.
No, Robert declined Thomas. I'll send it one more time.
E&J Sushi.
Okay, Thomas is coming now.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. Thomas, if this is you, you just have to unmute.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thomas McCowan, perfect. How you doing? Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, I'm here on behalf of D&J Sushi LLC, located at 286 Columbus Avenue. You may know this formerly as Geyer's, and then there was a transfer to Kisaki Sushi, and now this is a new applicant. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to read the application, but this is going to be really food centric. Hours are noon to 9:30. Everything I've told, they're a new client to me. I don't know much of what's going on with them. I said 9:30 is awfully early. You may regret it. So at this point in time, every conversation I've had, which has only been in the past few days, is they're going to be operating as a sushi restaurant, food focus. There were interior changes from the prior licensee, Kisaki, and what was somewhat attractive to them was the prior renovations for a kind of a sushi bar. There's a round bar that was installed for really kind of counter sushi style dining.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
This is both me or your one?
Well, any other questions?
The reason we early. Yeah.
Yes, so, no questions at all?
None.
Okay,
Call the question.
call the question.
Second.
All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Opposed?
I only got
Barbara? Yep, 11, thank you. Opposed, there won't be any 0-0. Non-committee? No. Okay. Great. That passes 11-0-0-0.
I appreciate your time and attention. And the date for the full board, does anyone know at this point?
September 3rd. It's the day after Labor Day.
A day I'll always remember. I don't know if you get that lyric. I'll see you later. All right. Thanks very much for your attention. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep.
Good night.
Great. Okay. Gonna turn over to you, Mark.
Okay.
It's,
So we have several applications, we got 5 from July and 1 from August that we're hearing. We apparently received one this afternoon, but the consensus seems to be that that's too little notice to the public to hear it. You folks are here for one of them, yes? Yes. And 2 of them, well, because we're Sidewalk and the, yeah, okay.
No, 2 different
stores. Right. So Polpette is 71 West 71,
Yes.
right? And then you folks are 225 West, Columbus? Okay, yeah, so why don't we do the Sidewalk first and then the roadway of those, and then we'll go to you.
Great.
And then we'll take the ones that aren't here. How's that?
That's the plan.
So, Max, are you gonna, call up the applications, or should I,
I wasn't planning on it. I'm kind of doing a couple other things, but I could.
Screen, I'll do it, okay?
That's good.
I saw we shared the sheet. We reshared the sheet with everyone for those who want to follow along on your laptops or your phone as well.
So this should be it, and
Are you pulling it up? Okay.
here we go. I circulated notes of my initial take on this, which was simply comments, but here we go. So the comments track these boxes, if you'll remember how this works. Comments on the physical footprint, comments on the pedestrian flow, comments on whether or not it interferes with the curb use, and then because it's a sidewalk, we make a recommendation. As you see down here, it's either approval, denial, or approval with modifications, and if there are modifications, we have to note whether or not the applicant agrees with those modifications.
Do we spell out the applications?
If there were modifications, we spell them out. That's right. Okay, so here's the list. The closing times for the outdoor service is 10 p.m., which, by the way, conforms to both SLA and well within DOT regulations for this sort of service. It's a little sideways, but you can sort of see this is the sidewalk thing. You'll note, and I noted this on the notes that I provided, that there is a vault access door, but they do not propose to put a table or chairs on top of it. So as far as I understand the circumstances, that's accessible. So why don't we do this? First, let's hear from the applicant, and whatever it is you want to share, please feel free, but please do come up because I think the microphone is
Right there.
back one. Okay, take care. How's everybody? Nice to see you.
So, yeah, so there was an existing sidewalk seats. So that moved there for many years. So that's the same drawing. I just updated according to the DOT standards, a couple of different measurements, but it is set up the way it's always been set up. So there are no changes to the original application, which goes back maybe 15 years.
If I apologize, if you could just speak up a little bit so they can hear you on the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So those are the original drawings, just minimize a little bit, edited from what used to be Bistro Cassis, going back probably maybe 15 years, maybe more. I used to manage the place.
Right.
I took it over during the pandemic, September 2020, and I had the archive drawings. So I sent it to the DOT. They came back and forth maybe once or twice, just with saying they were missing one measurement here or there. I sent it back to them, and a fellow by the name of Chase at DOT said everything was good. We were just waiting for the community board approval, but other than that, everything was in coordinates with the rules and regulations.
Questions around the table? Anybody have a question?
Which restaurant is this for? And we're talking about the sidewalk or the roadway?
Sidewalk. And it really hasn't changed in almost 20 years. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, just one thing I noticed on the application. One thing I noticed on the application, it checked off the box for bike corral. I think because there's a bike rack.
One single bike rack.
Yes, it's not a box.
Yeah.
That's not what they mean.
You know, and I know what a corral is, but
Yeah,
but at least they acknowledge that they're.
right, and I just want to make sure the bike rack will still be functional.
Right, and I think I noted in my notes that while it's not on this drawing, it was on the photographs, and it is apparent, it is more than apparent to me that there is the required 8-foot clearance between the bike structure and the, here, I'll highlight it.
And the sidewalk.
Yeah, the barrier, right?
Yep.
And this is Columbus, so it's 8 feet. For reasons passing understanding, Columbus is 8 feet clearance and Amsterdam is 10 feet clearance, even though most of us think of it as the same. Yes. So I see more than 8 feet clearance to the tree pit, and that's to the like brick and metal part, not to the tree itself.
Right.
So there's a couple of notes I propose we put in about what we just said, including the bike structure and the tree pit. But I would propose a resolution if we're there. Well, I'm sorry, are there any people from the community or on the public who want to be heard on this one before we start voting on things?
Feel free to raise your hand if you are here and want to speak on this.
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so we can see them if they do that.
Oh, Nichl, let me promote her.
Oh, great, okay.
She comes.
Hi,
Hello.
Nicole.
Hey, just speaking in support, Manny's is a great asset to the neighborhood. Manny's an amazing operator, so obviously it seems like you guys are good with this, but just wanted to chime in. Here to help.
Very good, thank you. Unless there are other concerns, I'm going to, yeah, go ahead.
Just wanted to raise one issue that neighbors, I live right around the corner. Just that there's nothing we can do about it, but there is a huge amount of congestion on the weekends, especially. And so we know that's stress for many with the way you have the cable. You guys are doing fine. It's other people a little bit further north of you, but I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, 8 feet sometimes it is, can be a little
And
bit.
it's a lot of the delivery of picking up at farms that are no problem, but that block is just like very, very.
But we always try to help pedestrians get by, wheelchairs.
Right. Yeah, no, I know.
bicycles, everything. So, but it is a little bit difficult, even with the 8 feet.
Yeah.
Sometimes on Saturday or Sunday, when it's a lot of people around. So.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, I just want to add my support. And he's a great operator and a great neighbor, and the food is pretty darn great too.
Really good.
So and the music and
Thank you.
full throated support for
Thank you.
Host with a mode.
Barbara likes
for
it.
sure.
So if I could just read through my notes and see if this passes with the committees. Under item I, for physical footprint dimensions, I would propose that we say that the proposed sidewalk fits within the width of the storefront, that the tables and chairs as presented on the site plan do not extend past the barrier and do not interfere with cellar access hatches. That the proposed sidewalk cafe provides an adequate service aisle within the perimeter. With respect to pedestrian flow, unless there's something you want to add, I would propose to say that the proposed sidewalk cafe does not block the residential building entrance, and the cafe as presented on the site plan provides the required 8-foot clearance from the tree pit, including the Belgian blocks surrounding the tree and the bike parking dock, is what I call it. And then the existing curb use, there's protected bike lane. So we note that, and we note that the site plan and photographs do not present an issue with the use of the curb. And so I would propose a resolution noting those things and then just giving them a clean approval.
Second.
Just a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? For me, please.
I still understand what we're voting on, because this is not for anything that.
We're voting to recommend approval to the DOT.
Sidewalk cafe.
Sidewalk Cafe.
Yeah, I understand that, but okay.
Okay. Hands down.
Hang on, you got a hand from Barbara.
Yeah, I
Got
got
it.
it, 11.
Okay, thank you, opposition? Abstentions, recusals, none. So we're gonna move on, don't go away, because we're gonna go right now to, the Roadway Café for the same application. Okay, well. That's good. Sharing my screen for the roadway. And again, you see that the hours are to 10 p.m. Same usual assortment box, except that with the roadways, we don't recommend, we just note things. So here is the drawing, let's make it a little bigger. For the proposed roadway cafe. As you can see, It goes across the bike lane. It does not interfere with the buffer lane. And it has, you've checked the boxes as to what the composition of the perimeter and barriers are. We don't actually get to see an elevation of that, so we take it on faith that DOT and you will work out what that will be. Anything you want to tell us? Oh, and I see umbrellas, but no roof. So please tell us anything you want to tell us about that.
So with the new rules and regulations, it would only be the width of your storefront. So the width of my storefront is 19 feet and only the width of the parking space, which is 8 feet. So you have 6 tables, 12 chairs, the little circle will be an umbrella in between each 2 tables, no roof. So when it rains, nobody sits out there, it's close the umbrellas. There'll be no, other than the flowers around, the trees, the shrubs, there'll be no plexiglass, no windows, no doors, only on the side of the street. They allow you to do plexiglass up to 6 feet. Obviously, to protect if somebody can stick a hand out or something, if a vehicle is coming by. There will be water-filled barriers. So it'll be well over the, 1,000 pounds or something like that, 1,200 pounds. There'll be water-filled barriers. And then there'll be like some nice wooden thin facade over it to make it look nice, the way the restaurant looks. And there'll be no flooring because it's actually level. The asphalt there is level, it's clean, it's nice, I don't need any flooring. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple.
Funny that you said when it rains, you close the umbrellas as opposed to open the umbrellas.
You don't close the umbrellas, people are gonna start hanging around. There'd be bicycles and with the deliveries, and I really don't want anybody causing any ruckus there. So the umbrellas will come down at night, the chairs that will be inside, so you'll have nothing but boxwoods around and that's it. And, so like I said, as far as the floor, the ground goes, you don't need anything, no electric, because they're not allowing you to have anything, you know, like if you do, it's like $1 million to install electric out there, the right way.
How many tables are you losing?
So before, so we had 12 and 24, so it's cut in half. Because we were allowed to extend beyond, we were in front of the liquor store, the landlord approved it, so on, so he would have approved, I could have went all the way to the corner to the grocery store, but enough was enough. Yeah, so.
And as far as I can read the diagram, you actually do have like 1.5 feet of space to your limit so that that's part of the requirements. So I see that there in the drawing. So that's weird. I guess that's where you're gonna put half of your containerized trash, right? Yeah, okay.
Well, no, so the containerized trash, what we do is they pick up at midnight. So we keep it inside the basement and bring it out at midnight, so I don't need to keep anything outside.
Yeah, but there's some sort of spacing, but the guy next to you also had one.
Oh, no, you have to have the space from the next cafe.
And you got that.
Right, yeah, more than enough.
Okay, any other questions around the table?
Public service announcement, I've noticed that sometimes the umbrellas, which I love, can get airborne in a windy condition, so just make sure they're weighted or anchored. Just nothing to do with the approval of this application, which I fully support, but I just want FYI.
Yeah, so the umbrellas that I bought, forget the name of the company, they're really, really good umbrellas and they're expensive. When I notice umbrellas flying around, my umbrellas don't really fly around, they have like this 150-pound round big base on them. They don't go anywhere. That's
good.
Mark?
Yep.
This doesn't pertain to this one, but I just don't think it's necessarily true that you can't have a roof. And
It has to be a fabric roof and it can't be
permanent, it has to be removable.
well, yeah, but like Bodrum, for instance,
Yes.
and they have a roof and it looks fairly rainproof.
DOT constructed
Well,
that.
that to be
Right.
readily.
And that's a DOT approved
Yeah.
structure.
Yep. No, thanks for that, and that's a fair point.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put up my notes again here, and I won't even read them, but basically my notes say what we just said about this, so this would be my proposed resolution to approve without modifications or so forth.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion?
I had a
Seeing none?
question.
Go ahead.
In general, is there an operator required to have some kind of notification, like a piece of tape or something to alert diners that they're going through the bike lane?
So what we normally do, I mean, we could probably do something like that, but since there's no windows, no enclosure anymore, there really wouldn't be a space to put it. but we usually have a designated person that's the server out there. And we actually physically walk our guests, because no matter how many times we tell them look left or right, and it's nobody, we haven't had any accidents, very lucky. I don't know anybody in the neighborhood that have had, but we're always very cautious and we make sure we walk the guests out,
Okay.
especially.
I've had a couple near misses myself. And you know, if you have a glass of wine, you step out and you forget that there's a bike lane right in front of you, you really can get smashed. So I would just suggest that something, even a piece of reflective tape to alert designers that they're moving into, you know, they're going into a lane of moving traffic, basically.
I think that's a great idea, and there is a signpost right in front of my restaurant, right by the entrance there. What I'll do is, I think I would create a plaque there, nice in a bright color, so the guests could see it, so that's a great idea. I think,
Thank
and
you.
we'll do
That
that.
would be fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you.
Do we want to add that to our approval, or is this good enough?
I don't know.
I don't know if he's able to put,
Yeah.
like something
I'm gonna
on
do
the
it.
signpost.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice.
Yeah. I think there's reflector
reflector.
requirements that are on the actual structure.
And they're on the diagram.
So,
The reflector things are on the
Yeah.
diagram.
yeah,
So vehicles, yeah.
so,
Yeah, because we don't want you to get a fine for putting up a sign.
I mean, I had something I would like to propose, other than this, of maybe putting speed bumps for the motorbikes, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Big
Yeah,
speed bumps up
if
there.
the city would provide them, I'll be responsible, I'll take them in and bring them out, whatever, because it is, you know, those motorbikes flying by over there.
they shouldn't be in there.
They
Yeah,
should be there.
Well, civil transportation, joint meeting, but that's not gonna happen.
Call questions?
So I'm gonna propose the resolution. Somebody second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor? Aye. And I see Barbara's hand.
Yep.
So I think that's all of us, hands down. Objections, recusals, and abstentions, none. So that carries, and that's our, we'll file that report with the DOT report August 21st. Thank you very much. Bye.
And then we'll vote on October 3rd. No,
No, not
Don't matter.
Oh, no, that's right, because we're doing.
We're doing it now because,
That's right.
because
That's right.
it's August
Maybe that
21st is the
exception.
deadline.
Yep, yep.
Well, put deadline for the roadway.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the timing is different, even though you submitted it at the same time. And by the way, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
That's a real help.
When is the deadline for the sidewalks?
The sidewalks would be 10 days later, so the 31st.
31st, oh, and everyone's away.
That's right, Labor Day weekend, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for your communities. Thank you. I'm gonna hear from my friend Nikki and Ali, and my girlfriend Cheryl has joined us here.
Okay, really going now. So 71 West 71st. Come on up.
Thank you.
And I am sharing my screen again. And here it is. So this is just the sidewalk. So we have that same rubric. And I cut to the chase, 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. On the weekends. On the weekends, you may or may not have an issue with SLA, but with your license, but that's not the jurisdiction of this inquiry. So
This is an injury, huh?
inquiry like, hey, what's going on here? Okay, so here's the diagram. I'm going to expand again a little bit. I'm cutting off just for a second the fact that the building entrance is not blocked by what you're proposing. And there's the tree pit and so forth. So if there's no objection, why don't you walk us through what you got here?
Basically, it's not a lot. It's as you see, there's just a few tables there. It's gonna be right in the storefront. As Manny said, my storefront's 20 feet. So that's what we're allowed, and we're gonna have a little barricade up, and there'll be plenty of room for people to walk up and down the street.
So it looks like 2 tables and 4 chairs. Is that it?
That's it.
And you do have a vault access here. Does that not get used during the day?
It doesn't get used at all, actually, in DOT. What I needed to do to satisfy DOT for the approval is that I had to have a designer or architect actually sign off on that was not going to be used. What it is, it's not like it's a trap. It's a tiny trap door. A person can barely fit in there. The building is so old, they never made a real one where there were steps going down to the basement. So it's just one little door that opens and then you gotta have to like jump in. So it's not being used.
Gotcha. Okay. So questions from around the table? I'm not seeing hands. Anybody online have an interest in this one? Hi, go ahead, Nichl.
Hey, just speaking in support again. We love Polpette and I'm happy that they have a little bit of outdoor dining if approved.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you for the call. I'm not seeing any. So I'm gonna stop sharing this and then go back to where am I here? So again, this is the same old with me about the physical footprint, being within its proper dimensions and so forth. The pedestrian flow is not impeded by the presence of this cafe, that there is a service aisle clearly visible within the perimeter, and that there's so there's an existing roadway cafe at the curb. Is that going away, or are you going to apply for that too?
There should be a roadway here also, there's not.
I do not see a roadway.
Oh, I thought I saw one.
You just see the sidewalk one.
Correct. I saw the sidewalk one twice, but I don't.
Yeah, I did apply for the roadway, yes.
Oh, maybe we uploaded the same one twice?
Maybe they did, yeah.
Well, that's not good because if they think.
Max, do you guys see a roadway application for Polpette?
Come again?
Do we have a roadway application as well for Polpette?
If it's in the drive, yes, otherwise, no. Jesse put everything in there.
Okay.
All right, let me go back to the drive.
Let me see if
Let's deal with the sidewalk first. Okay. So I'm just gonna drop this line about there's an existing non-conforming roadway cafe structure. We don't need that now. There is an application, right? Or should I leave it there? Well, I think we lose it, right?
Lose it
If it's not, yeah, okay.
if there's a roadway application. You don't
Okay.
need that.
Existing curb use.
I don't see the other application.
That's something we could follow up with DOT about tomorrow.
Yeah, but
But we
the
need-
roadway,
It's going to be too late to
Yeah,
vote on
exactly
it.
right. That's the reason why we're tonight.
Yeah.
But it could be stuck in the portal. There's, he said there's about 150 of them that are stuck in the portal. This unfortunately could be one of them.
So is it
Well,
going?
but-
Oh, that's Josh, that's a really good point. I shared this with you and not everyone. Jesse and I communicated with DOT and they said that there are about 150 applications just for Community Board 7 in the portal right now. They're just very backlogged.
Okay.
That's gonna be a little-
Yeah.
It's gonna have to
Yeah,
be
but
several.
it's going to have Polpette right now.
Well, hopefully without any prejudice because of.
Yeah.
Well, do you have one on your phone? I don't know.
I'm looking now.
Oh, golly.
Did you get confirmation that you sent it or something or?
Yeah, I don't.
But well, let's talk about the 150 after.
Yeah,
That would
so
all-
It's new business.
I have 2 emails from them because we had to send 2 checks in.
Yes.
Of
Yeah,
course.
Right, so this was end of July, this was on July 22nd,
Oh, goodness.
and, hold on, so they sent. Sidewalk. Roadway. Yeah, it says, DOT has processed your payment for the outdoor dining license application fee for your outdoor roadway request. No action is required at this time.
And what was that dated?
July 22nd. I have I guess a number, maybe.
Case number or
Maybe
an
we can
application.
reference it for our minutes. Yeah, I guess it's an application number. Yeah.
I think we don't have a diagram. We don't have anything, so we could.
We can't vote.
could-
But we maybe noted for our minutes.
Yeah.
Can we do something that is subject to being
Review.
in
Well,
compliance?
but it is, you can't see it online, the existing one.
Correct.
And maybe we could just talk about, you hear the details of it. so that we don't have to.
Yeah, but the existing one is not.
Yeah.
consistent
We don't
with-
have to vote on it, but just so,
I don't know.
you know,
I'm not-
if there are
The
any
existing one
concerns,
doesn't comport with the
if
new
there are any
rules.
concerns, then they can go back and fix it.
No, it's,
Are you sharing currently with Santa Fe? You guys sort of have a structure?
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So the new one is gonna be completely different.
You don't
have the
have
drawing
two
on your
separate ones. They're actually gonna be right next to each other, but yeah.
Yeah,
would you have to have the space in between to have access, so that's the problem.
no, I know,
All right. All right, let's deal with the sidewalk first
Okay.
and clear that off. I have now noted here that the site plan reflects that the sidewalk table is to the top of a basement hatch access, but the hatches have been certified as no longer in use and thus present no obstacle.
Right.
Is that
Great.
okay with everybody?
That sounds good.
Okay, we just take that as your representation and I think do that. Okay,
Want to say no obstacle and access is not necessary or something.
and
Just as an FYI, the law allows outdoor dining tables and chairs to be placed on cellar doors if they're reinforced. There's actually a process to submit, so we will probably see these many times. And I
100%.
think whether they're usable or not is probably not material to the
No.
question, is whether or not they're reinforced under
So
the.
it's certified
Even if it's not usable,
reinforced,
it's still
so
has to be
perhaps the language you
Yeah.
changed is certified reinforced.
we don't know that they're reinforced, we just know that they're not used.
applicant has to have an architect
Was
designer
Of
certified.
course, then an architect went in there and closed it and said he
Yeah.
couldn't get in there, so
Yeah.
that would imply, that, and then it's pretty
Right.
implicit that it's
Usage is
reinforced.
not relevant, it's reinforcement. that is-
Yeah.
yes, the-
So the point is that the applicant just said that he had an architect who closed it. Closed it means it's
I don't
reinforced,
think it's,
No.
you got a statement from it, or you got certification from it.
certification that it's closed.
Not necessarily
No, not-
reinforced where it is.
Reinforced,
That it's
Not being
approved, that it's
used.
submitted, that
Yeah,
it's, that it was
really.
submitted to DOT and it's satisfied there.
satisfied, and that, don't you think that reinforced would be implicit in that?
Yeah, well, if it's satisfied the DOT approval, so what I'm saying is, if you wanna have tables and chairs on the cellar
Right.
door, it needs to be approved by DOT.
Which it
And
was.
to be approved by DOT, it needs to be reinforced is the right word, but it needs to be secure.
Structurally sound.
It's really structurally sound, thank you.
Well, but you could be closed and not structurally sound.
Right.
You could be structurally sound and not closed.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So how
not
about,
reliant on each other.
so how about this? Site plan reflects that the sidewalk tables would site sit, however.
I'm right about this.
Developed on top of a basement hatch access door, but the hatches have been certified by an architect, approved by a DOT, as appropriately reinforced and otherwise present no obstacles and no access is necessary.
A little
Dirty, but get that good. All right, with those changes, I'll move that as a resolution.
Second.
Second.
Anybody have want to discuss?
Nope.
And, was there anybody in the public other than, we heard from Nichl, right? So anybody else? No, going once, twice, gone?
Not seeing anyone.
So all those in favor? And Barbara's got her hand up too, so that's all of us. Denials, abstentions, recusals, none. Okay, so that will be our resolution for 71/71 with respect to, now let me just double check the drive.
Because they sent both confirmations and both emails the same day.
Right, which would make sense. Let me go back to. No, but I only see one in the drive.
I only see one in the drive.
Yeah, okay. All right, so, actually, let's do this. I think there were some photographs.
But we're gonna have to review this again when we get the actual.
Yeah,
from
but it won't
DOT.
do
We
any
don't have
good.
time to do that, that's the problem.
We can't do it without the information from DOT. What are we discussing if we don't have the DOT information? That's my question, because no, not against you personally, but anybody who applied. Who has the same information you could have showed up today and said, I got my letter from DOT and I want to do this now. We could have 100 people sitting here if there are 100 people in the backlog. So not against you personally, but I don't think it's fair to those who are sitting in the backlog. That's my personal.
Right, yeah, I was trying to move this along, but I hear you, you're right, so.
Yeah, the thing I just feel like we should note for the record is we don't want you to miss your deadline. And obviously this is caused by DOT. They're gonna fix it. Well, I just want to be in record to say that the applicant showed and said
Case,
that
the
he
case number.
put his, yeah, and maybe reference the case number, and then there's no action for us to take.
No, the only thing that might be helpful is that if they find you for having your structure still up, you can show them the email and say, I submitted mine and I got a response by the state that said, look, you guys screwed up on your end, but I'm fine with what you asked for, so this fine is not.
But the deadline for the DOT, I understand, there's a deadline for the community board too, for the okay?
Yes and no.
For to respond.
Yeah.
Well, our problem is
So
that.
what's the date for you guys?
By the 20th.
Yeah, it's 30 days from the date it was referred to us.
Right.
But our position is it hasn't been referred to us. Because
All right, because July 22nd is when it was referred to us, that's when I got.
well, one that should have been referred. to us.
Exactly.
But the issue did not get noticed.
Right.
On our agenda.
Yeah,
Right.
on our agenda, it's not on our
But
drive.
you should not be penalized
Right.
for one of DOT's errors.
You know,
If they find,
All right.
So but it still may come up on your next, do you have another meeting?
well, we're hoping, look, we're hoping and we're not hoping that the 150 come through ASAP.
Right.
But 150 will be here for 6 weeks, going through all these things, but that could
All
happen.
right, well then
well, you know, 6 hours. I think you're exaggerating.
All right, not the way we go.
What they said to me was that we can expect about I think it was either 10 or 15% of that 150 to come in the next month or so.
That's terrible.
That's 15.
That's still
We're gonna be
terrible.
able to solve it here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
If
keep
that's any
moving, okay?
indication how backlogged they are, unfortunately.
For you tonight on the.
That's
road,
okay.
On the road. Yeah, it's out of our hands. All right,
Do you, so. About this meeting tonight.
yeah,
How are certain people notified?
it's on our.
Because I never got a notification actually.
So.
So no, you don't know.
Yeah, actually, Andrew and I were talking about this earlier. DOT told us that for these, we don't have to notify the applicant. That's something that the committee can decide that maybe we start doing, but that the general practice was we don't notify the applicant because they're not obligated to show up. It's really nice that you did show up. We appreciate that, and I know the committee does too.
No, I'm glad I was too. Now I found out that I need to follow up on this, so,
Yeah,
you know,
and
we got to see you
And we
guys.
found out important information.
So, it's great, but I don't mind coming. I'm happy to be here.
I was gonna propose something on this. I don't know if now for the co-chairs. it's the right
Floor's open,
time.
go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so I'm not sure, I could be wrong, so like with a liquor license, is the applicant required to be here?
No.
I'm not sure, so I don't think with anything, the applicant is required to be here. My concern is that, I bumped into Manny on the street and like, he said, oh, yeah, I'll come, and they're good neighbors, and they wanted to be here. But my sense is that most business owners, if they're not instructed to come, which they're not required to be, and if it's not offered to them, they're not going to be here. And just based on the couple of meetings we've had, I think it's extremely difficult for us to have conversation about these applications
Yes.
in a thoughtful way without having them here,
Exactly.
because something comes up. We're like, well, what's that? That's off the side. We look at the photos, and especially when someone, so I was just gonna recommend that if it wasn't too much of a burden on the team here, that everyone that applies for both Roadway Cafe and or Sidewalk Cafe should get some sort of notice saying while it's not required for you to be at the community board meeting, we encourage you to show up in case we have questions about your application. The committee, you can answer them. Because my fear is like, we're not gonna know something and then we're gonna send it back, and it would have been like a quick fix if they were here.
Right.
And that already happened, I got 2 applications.
Yes.
So that,
Andrew, it won't be a burden. That's no problem. I think the only concern that had been raised was it's an equity issue. Some people have the time and the luxury to hire personnel, but other than that, it's no problem on our end. The offices, Jesse and I.
are they permitted under the bylaws and law to be remote? Can
Oh,
it
yeah,
happen?
there's no.
Yeah, so,
requirement
because
for that.
we had.
So give them an in-person or give them a remote, so if they can't be here in person,
And
they could
put in
do.
language that says this will help guarantee your application will not be delayed for any reason.
I think it's a good idea.
I don't know that we should use the word guarantee.
Yeah, that's no problem for us.
We could wordsmith it,
Yeah.
but make it clear that it's very helpful
It's helpful.
for us, the community board, and also the applicant to be here.
Yes.
But what happened with Empire Szechuan?
Well, that's what I
They weren't here and it
So
delayed
hopefully
them.
I'll come up on the next meeting.
So Max, you and I will work on a form of
Thank you.
notice that can just be automatically sent out. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds good. Just we'll want to loop Jesse in because she's probably going to be doing that. But yeah, that sounds good. And Jesse may still be watching this. She was sneakily watching it on YouTube. She was texting me, so maybe in the loop. But if not, we'll talk.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so we're gonna keep moving here. We're gonna go to 2290 Broadway Sidewalk. There's also a roadway for this
Oh, no kidding.
one. Okay.
Saying let's put it- pointed out to Tyler.
Keep going.
Can I ask a clarifying question? The 21st deadline hits and the structure is still up. Do they get fined if the structure is up, but they're not serving people, or is it if they're serving people?
So they're allowed to continue to use if they have applied by August 3rd for a new one, they are allowed to continue to use the old one until 30 days after the license to use the new one is approved.
Okay.
I think they have to take it down.
Or
November 1st.
Yeah, well, likely based on the timeline here that most of them will just be coming down in November. And then they'll set them up, the following.
And as discussed, if they get a fine and they haven't applied, they're probably still gonna leave it up because the cost of the fine is really not a deterrent to take it down before November 1st.
And it's unlikely that there are enough inspectors out there.
My thought.
But also depends the frequency of the
Not
frequency of the
encouraging.
fine.
All right.
He's viewing this. Well, it's-
No, I
yeah.
know, but I'm saying, I think it's the frequency of the fine, so.
Well, right, if they come every week, then you're gonna rip it down, but if they don't
Yeah.
come at all, it's,
Yeah.
so
Kind of
everybody's they're so backlogged with everything else, there's no reason to think they're gonna be out
People
there.
even
It's kind of like local law 97 and DOT.
Notifications, like the approvals need to be visible.
DOT will have a database. Presumably the portal has all that. We don't get to see it, of course, but the portal has, once it's approved, it'll be, so the inspector will know.
Can they just walk and?
Or local law
like some
93
sort of,
and DOT.
like a C or B rating on a food sign or something?
Oh.
like that?
Good question. I think they're going to get, where you use the display, like you display your liquor license,
Yeah,
you use to
yeah.
display your Sidewalk Cafe license, I believe they will issue you something that you will
Okay.
put in, the window or the front area.
And if you have,
that
you have both, you'll have two things
Yeah.
in your window.
Suitable,
Which-
right?
Yeah.
Sidewalk and roadway.
Add your
and
liquor license.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
well, liquor
it's-
license is not in the
French
window.
area
there.
or something.
Yeah,
and
by the
everything.
Oh, that's right, it's behind the bar. Okay, let's keep going here. This is 2290 Broadway.
This is Westfield, right?
Yeah.
This is what used to be Artie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is now
Something
Westfield.
about there?
Yeah.
So their closing hours are 10 PM, no issue there, right? And, this is their sidewalk. And they have a very long frontage on the sidewalk.
Yes, they do.
And it's a
Um,
very wide sidewalk.
Yes, it is.
And is a very wide sidewalk. Here, let me extend this a little bit, but you can see that there's 10 or 11 feet. Now, this is Broadway, so 10 feet is the requirement. And their ADA ramp does not interfere with, and they've got a 24-foot wide clearance. It does not interfere with a building entrance or the restaurant entrance. And they've got 11 feet clearance from parking meters, from a bike, what are we calling it, dock? Yeah, and.
How about rec?
And then street bed and a road sign too. So they've got all the necessary clearances and they don't exceed their storefront because, gosh, it's such a wide storefront, how could they? Okay, so that's basically where we're at. And then this is what it looks like now. Come on, there you go. And so you see the tree pit, you see the bike, rack and so forth. And then the standpipe there, I think is on the other side of the outdoor cafe, so it doesn't interfere with anything anyway. Okay, so, questions around the table on this? The applicant isn't here, right? Nobody's online? Is there anybody online for this one?
No, there's people, but they're not for this.
All right, Max. All right, questions around the table?
Same with competent operator.
Yeah, I don't know the operator, but
I do.
that's, okay, great. Anybody want to say anything about this before we move on?
I mean, I don't.
I'm gonna recuse myself because as the broker for the tenant and but I support it and I think they're a great addition to the neighborhood, but I won't be voting.
It's
Fantastic.
every night.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
So I have the usual comments. Here we go. I have the usual comments on where is the version? about the footprint with the service aisle fits in the site plan, et cetera. Doesn't interfere with an issue with the use of the curb, doesn't interfere with pedestrian flow, including the metal grade around the tree, et cetera, et cetera. So I would recommend approval straight up without conditions. Second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? And Barbara's got her hand up too, so that's everybody.
Except Doug's gonna recuse.
Oh, except the thank you. Yeah, and then recusals one, yes. No abstentions, no denials. Okay,
10-0-0-1.
thank you. Okay, and so that brings us to our last one of these.
No, Roadway
No, I'm
Cafe,
sorry, no.
Roadway,
It's now the roadway of the same building.
Westville.
Yep, here we go, here we go. What happened here? Fine. Oh, I did the wrong thing, that's fine. Here we go, here it is. Here, you really need this narrative, don't you? So here's the counterpart roadway. Again, with the deadline of 21st, same hours of operation, and now here is the, we expanded a little bit, so we can all see. It fits within the parking lane, it's 8 feet wide. It is 40 feet long, but it's plenty in front of the restaurant. It does not block anything important like a fire hydrant or anything like that. And it's got clearance, and obviously, what we didn't talk about with these roadway ones is the 15-foot the emergency vehicle access, but clearly on Broadway it's there, and clearly on 70 on Columbus Avenue it's there. So
The one thing that I checked was the bus stop, because it was far away, was far enough away from the bus stop.
Oh, thanks. Let's make sure we note that. Okay. Okay, any questions here?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I just on the drawing, I noticed that the bike rack is right next to the Roadway Cafe. The representatives aren't here, so they couldn't answer this, but I just want to make sure that the rack would still be usable.
Okay. So let's stop sharing that and go to. You can see it on the photos.
I see it on the photo,
Yeah.
but not on the rendering.
Maybe we should note that too. Okay. So fits in the dimensions, Roadway Cafe is flush against the curb, provides adequate service aisle, open space. Site plan shows the required open space between this and the adjacent Roadway Cafe if one were to be added. Maybe we can just, it would be helpful to update.
Do you have the photo? Could I see the photo of the, no, I bet I have, the photograph, yeah. Let me see. Where's the, bike lane?
Rack.
Bike rack.
Yeah,
Is it within,
no, it's a, yeah.
is it not within, so is it within the footprint of the?
Yeah,
Footprint?
yeah, well within. Then the road, and the,
I guess I would ask, how would it not be usable?
yeah, right, they can walk around and make that. It's not even a rack.
No, I think Ken's concern was that people would be able to put their bikes on it.
Yeah.
But I'm asking, how would it not be usable? As much?
Well, in the old ones, if there was.
This is an old one, right?
Right, but that's no longer an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they-
It's close to the curb, so it's not affected by the sidewalk dining piece of this or the roadway piece.
Right.
You can easily get to it.
Correct, and it's actually inside the width of the tree pit as well, so no one's walking there in addition.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna walk into the trees either.
And the meter for that matter.
All right, so on my existing curb use, I said there was, while the tree pit on the sidewalk is not represented in the site plan, the photos make clear that it will not block access to the curb or the sidewalk. And I'll just add the bike rack too.
Right.
Okay. Sorry, does that work?
The flooring or anything like that to match the curb?
So,
Have a ramp,
Right.
an ADA ramp.
Yeah.
If they don't have floor.
Right.
To the ramp.
So again, I would recommend approval without conditions unless there's something.
For lots of reasons.
Okay,
second.
okay. Does anybody online want to be heard on this one? 3, 2,
I'm not
1,
seeing
thank-
anyone.
Yep, okay, great. So, so let's move this as a motion and a second. All in favor? And Barbara is a yes, and Doug is still a recuse. So it's 10-0-0-1, yes? Very good, thank you.
Sugar.
Okay.
One
Now we're
more.
going to the August ones. Very exciting. So. Oh, that's the one that was received today. I was just about to say, what did I? And we got 2 of the same on this one. This. Okay. 942, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So hearing again. This is. 942 Amsterdam. So Amsterdam is a 10-foot clearance lane, not a 9-foot clearance lane. Here they are. These are their hours of operation. I'm assuming that's 10 PM, by the way.
I would,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody wants to look.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're gonna strip alcohol for 1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drink up.
Yeah.
So this is the roadway, it's across the bike lane. It is an 18-foot frontage with an 8-foot width, but there is an 8-foot clearance, so they have the required clearance for the trash. Well, I think it's for the trash, whatever it is, it's there.
Whoever shows up.
And it also clears the building entrance. And notwithstanding the DOT, they did tell us that there are tables and chairs in there. Okay. And it appears that it's 8 feet wide, so it fits within the parking lane. Are there any questions on this one?
The drawing, I can't see it up there, but when I looked at it on my computer, the drawing showed the edge of the restaurant covering the buffer of the bike lane, but the photos showed it, the buffer was there. So I'm
Right.
just assuming that it's gonna.
Okay, let's make sure we note that, all right? So let's go back to my pretend to pull some notes. Okay, so the proposed cafe fits within the floating parking lane opposite the restaurant, does not encroach on the pedestrian bike lane, and does not extend beyond the width of the support. Proposed Roadway Café is depicted in the site plan separated from the curb by a bike lane. Adequate service aisle, open space between this and adjacent roadway, depict the existing non-compliant structure. The applicant indicates that the Roadway Café will be a compliant one will be installed. And I'll just get rid of the.
Okay, so that's the existing one.
This is the Vietnamese restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Banh is in Banh Mi, right?
Yeah, Banh Mi.
Yeah.
Is it- Bon.
Yeah,
There.
sounds great. By the way, this. Opened up. Is it right next door?
Which one?
Izu, MIZU that
Yeah.
opened up, it's like really good.
Oh, me
I was
kidding.
in Sugarfish last
I love Sugarfish. I need people downtown in Sugarfish.
night, 75th.
Yeah, I
right
can't
next to
wait.
the Beacon.
With their long
Yeah.
line? That's the
No.
only thing you can't make reservations.
It was not, it was really great, wow,
Diggity.
it's beautiful inside, they really did a
kidding.
great job.
The one in University Place, not so beautiful, but it's so good, so reasonable.
Yeah, no, it's
Sure. Sure.
Sugarfish.
Okay, so I'm adding.
University
You
Place.
think of Casanova?
I think about 4 of them.
So I'm adding a sentence that says that the photo established that the Roadway Cafe will not encroach upon the buffer lane, the protected bike lane.
Good.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd rather do that than have a condition. So if there's a condition, then it becomes part of the hearing and all that. Okay, okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, anybody online want to be heard on this one?
I do.
Barbara.
Oh, hi, Barbara, play little me.
Thank you. I just wanted to suggest again that maybe a piece of reflective tape as a precaution to people who are exiting the roadway structure would be helpful.
I think we should double check. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's something in the rules about reflective tape. But we should double check just so we know whether or not we need to add that in.
You had to have it
Yeah.
previous.
I
Yeah.
don't
You did?
remember seeing anything, and I thought it was really remiss that there was nothing there. But,
Okay.
you know, a light or a
Okay.
piece of reflective tape, something, I wouldn't hold up the application, of course, but, you know, just as a recommendation.
I'll look it up. I'm gonna look it up right now, see if I can find it
Okay,
online.
great,
Yeah.
thank you.
If it isn't,
Thanks.
we can recommend that in general to DOT.
We can recommend without making a condition.
Right.
So I just added a sentence that says CB7 recommends a form of signage warning for warning patrons crossing the bike lane.
Patrons and servers.
Signage are like one of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Signage or warning, that's signage or warning,
Or signage warning or reflective tape.
crossing the bike lane. To exercise caution while crossing the bike lane.
And then like put up big sticks for all the zooming. I know, I didn't say.
Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
All right. Does that work for you, Barbara? Here, I'll highlight
She
it.
put it
Thumbs up.
Oh, that's on one of those Australian things, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
You know, your accent's changing a little.
all right.
but thumbs up in Australia would be thumbs down because she's on the bottom.
Okay, anybody else want to be heard on this? Seeing none, so I'll move this as our resolution. Second,
Good, second.
thank you. All those in favor?
11?
11 it is.
Grade 11 it is.
Denials, abstentions, refusals, none. And that is all I got. Because we're not gonna hear this one today, right?
No, the others, that's it. There's new
Really
business.
Yeah, new, though, it looks like it's almost a slam dunk, but it's not.
Can we talk about those 150?
Yeah.
No, I think so.
So, I don't know, I'm talking out loud, I have no idea if this would work at all, but would it be possible for us as joint committees to agree in advance to review the applications that are submitted to us, like we all do now? And if we all agree and have some sort of document, if we all agree that, you know, they're in accordance with the rules, we don't have any issues, that we basically just like put a check next to them in a spreadsheet, and then when we come here for the meeting, you know, we could say, anyone from the public have, you know, want to comment on it, they can. The applicants, we can invite, like we said, we would, if they wanted to talk, but otherwise, we would just bundle them together and say like, we all reviewed these 27 of them, we don't see any issues, and if someone flags one
Then we separate them.
document, then we separate and then we
So
hear
do it
them.
like the city council does where it's a call up. And if not,
Yeah.
then it's assumed that it's.
I mean, at least, I don't know, at least for this bunch until like next year, just because I mean, I can imagine 150 of them, we're gonna be here for.
I don't wanna rain on your parade,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna. How many do we have today? 5?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we had,
Whatever. Was there any one that didn't have one comment today? No. No. So I don't wanna rain on your parade, but I'm just being realistic.
Well, they were all, but we didn't make any.
No, nevertheless, somebody always has something to say, and so I'm just fearful that I love your
Could we
idea.
tag, I don't know, can we tag them and say, you know, if it's September 15th, say, you know, put any final comments by September 10th.
And if you don't, you're
And,
out.
and if you don't, and that's your
That I love.
opportunity to do it.
I love
And then,
I think, if I'm understanding you correctly, what you're essentially saying is forego the presentation of each one and walk
Correct.
through the thing and just say, okay, we're gonna turn now to 225 Columbus. Any comments, any questions, anybody want to see the diagram?
and
Next,
then just
next,
get rid of
next.
it, instead of
That
bringing.
could work if we have the emails for every applicant, and if there's a question, we can email them in advance and maybe.
Really, and also to have them right here at the meeting.
Yeah.
So if there's some question that comes up, we can
Yeah.
just call, because.
And then we could just have one vote, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, we'll bundle, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm in favor of bundling as many as we can.
but we bundle it full board.
What's that?
We
Um,
bundle it full board.
We can bundle in a committee.
Paradigm with this number of.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm just suggesting this for like this first, pre-August 3rd submission. After we get through this initial thing in the future, we can do it. I'm just trying to figure out a way for the.
Well, I think this goes in with, the suggestion that if you have something to say about a certain, agenda item that's gonna be voted on, that you come to the committee meeting and not spend the entire full board meeting rehashing something that
Well,
could have been
that's kind of
discussed
my feeling
at the committee meeting, which
That's
happens.
my thing, but.
I'm just saying, that's why I feel like it's.
It's where, like at full board meeting, we talk about SLA application at the committee meeting, and then for the most part.
I'm referring to other committees.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
just
I'm
saying.
just saying,
yeah, I
you
agree.
know.
Yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
agree too.
All that said, we did 6 outdoor dining applications plus 2 liquor licenses in an hour. So, I don't think, a little more efficiency when we have 18 applications in front of us might not be a bad thing.
No, I agree.
But we're
Totally
doing
agree.
okay.
Yeah.
And also, don't forget, you did a lot of the work, you already wrote up half of the,
Well, and remember, I was criticized for that because folks thought that I was strong arming, and I hope I'm not, but.
No, I know, I think it's
wanna
actually
make-
very helpful.
I just want to make the meeting run.
Very thankful for what you did.
I think it helps.
And then, but
Or is it
once we
okay?
do this today, this doesn't go in front of full board because it's already done. This is it.
As far as.
If we got
this
this is permission.
It wouldn't be in time.
But I mean, so it's really never gonna go to full board.
Well, if the meeting is right in front of full board, then it could,
Yeah.
but.
But
This was like-
wouldn't we want to be consistent and just have it be one way? Because then we're gonna say, why is this in front of full board, but the other ones weren't, like, I don't think.
We have a
that's something we wanna-
resolution saying that
There's a deadline.
in absence of the full board, in the proximity of the full board, that this
I'm
vote
just
counts.
putting out these.
So anyways, if there's a way to have it, each one in a spreadsheet with the address and everything, and like, we can look at them, and just to go in and
I think
comment.
it's great.
The one thing I'll amend that is that you don't need a spreadsheet, because the drive is the spreadsheet.
Okay, yeah.
So just come to the meeting with your list.
Yeah.
And if you have one that you want to call out and say, I have a question on.
Yeah.
225 Columbus,
That's,
but
yeah.
we're not gonna make presentations on these unless the applicant.
And if we can ask those questions to the applicant via email prior to the meeting and get it established and fixed, that would really help.
There's a
So we
limited amount of
could,
time I want to spend, but yes.
Yeah.
to be prepared for members of the public who might be present.
Sure. And
Yeah.
there are gonna be some that'll draw some attention.
And then we're gonna give Ken a list of all of the bike docks.
He knows that already. He doesn't need a list.
Because those bike docks were a subject of the transportation committee in 2013.
Yeah.
And I still have the list.
So from a procedurally, let's just say we have 25 applications. We could say however many days, 5 days prior to the meeting. Everyone, submit, into the drive, comments you have on
That sounds.
any of those 25.
Right, so I'm gonna try to keep doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
which is creating a Google Doc for each application. And then, everybody will have access to that Google Doc, so we could actually just keep them.
And just go in and put your initials maybe, and just go put in your
put in
initials.
So the way it works in Google Docs is that if I
Oh, your
do a
name.
commenter.
Yeah,
it'll
yeah.
appear
Yep,
green.
it's already there. So, and then those are your basically your comments. I don't know if we have time to be able to reach out to everyone prior, but we can at least still send that email saying, we recommend people come, because even if we don't have comments, there could be a member from the public
Right.
that has a comment that would be there. So I would still send the
Yeah.
email.
Do they have access? Do they have access to the?
Well, they don't.
To Google Drive, they do not.
No.
Well, they don't need.
No, we just don't know what they.
No, what I'm saying, so
Issues with.
if there's 24, right, so 5 days prior to the meeting. Us as committee members can go into the March created and leave any comments that we have. We can then, at the meeting, look at all those applications that have no comments whatsoever. We could say, are there any members from the public that have a comment on any of these? If they don't, then we bundle them together, all at once. If people do have comments on specific ones, we pull that one out, we discuss it, and we can make modifications. And then for the additional applications that did have comments, we can then go through, like we normally would, one by one, and I don't know, hopefully, it would at least knock out some of them, but
Would that be
it would seem to be a little bit more efficient.
efficient?
You know?
we'll find more efficiencies later, but I think that's a great idea to start with.
Okay.
If you agree. we can
I
try.
agree.
Everybody okay with that? Yeah, all right, let's try that for next time then.
Seriously, how far before the meeting do we get the
Good
application?
question. Depends on when we schedule the meeting. We get applications on Mondays.
Are we going to be, I mean, considering the volume we're about to face, are we going to be meeting, are we adding 2 more meetings?
No,
or are we gonna just
No,
join?
no,
Okay.
we can't, because people have lives and this is what they come into.
That's actually what I was worried about.
Yeah,
you know,
I am, all right, I'll speak for myself.
I think if I can add, the good thing about the meetings currently being scheduled on Wednesday, because today, remember, we had to reschedule it to today, is that at least if we do get them on the Monday before the meeting, that is at least almost 48 hours. And I know Jessie is prioritizing these, so she'll be able to turn them around for the few that do come in that Monday before the Wednesday meeting.
I don't know if you were
But I
listening.
think the point that Beverly and I talked about is it would be great if everyone could review the other ones, because the ones that come in a little earlier before that in the cycle, start reviewing them when they're in the drive.
Yeah.
Well,
So then you only have the 1 Monday's worth, so to speak, right before the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to call the meeting?
Barbara said goodbye.
Oh,
Bye. She's not there, she signed out.
okay. All right, we're adjourned?
Yeah.
All right, thanks.